The early church. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I read the Bible, it almost feels like a different world. There are stories of people being healed, demons being cast out, and entire communities being transformed. But one story that always stands out to me is the story of the early church in the book of Acts. Imagine a community where no one is left hungry, no one is in need, and everyone shares everything they have. That was the vision of the first Christians. After Jesus rose from the dead, his followers gathered together daily in Jerusalem, in the place called the Upper Room. They prayed, they ate together, they studied the apostles' teaching, and they shared their faith with one another. And the Bible says that at that time there was a great revival. People were being saved every day and added to the church. But what really stood out to me is how these early Christians lived. They sold their property and their possessions and gave the money to anyone who was in need. So no one in the community had anything to do with the exception of what they needed. The Bible says that believers sold their property and possessions and gave the money to anyone who had need, so that there were no needy persons among them. Wow, this community of faith wasn't perfect. There were disagreements, there were arguments, there were even false teachers who tried to infiltrate this community. But what I love about the early church is that they were willing to start over, to get rid of everything they had so that they could follow Jesus. They knew that if they had nothing, they could give everything. There's a lesson for us here. The early church shows us the power of unity, the power of generosity, and the power of community. When people care for one another, abundance replaces scarcity. We can learn a lot from the early church, can't we? They understood that true wealth is not measured by what you have, but by who you have. They knew that serving Jesus was more important than saving face. They knew that giving to others is better than getting ahead. So let's take a minute and thank God for the early church, for the example that they set for us. Let's commit ourselves to building a community where everyone is cared for, where no one is left out, and where we can all grow together in our faith. Because when we give, we not only help those around us, but we also open ourselves up to receive God's blessing. Well, that's it for today. Join us next time as we continue to explore the amazing stories found in the Bible. Until then, may you be blessed.